Hi everyone. In this lecture, we're going to continue coding the header part. So we know what our containers are. Let's just go ahead and let's get to coding this header. So within the logo, we are going to have an h2. I'm not going to provide it with any class. It is going to say thread. But if I take a look at the actual website, you can see that this AED, it has a different styling than the rest of the words. So it signifies that we do something else with this AED. So we need to select that AD and then we can provide some different styles with that. Now, a common inline element that doesn't actually mess up the arrangement of the letters is span, where we use span to actually style a parts of a word or a sentence in a different way. And it doesn't provide any line breaks, therefore our text is going to look as it is, but when we provide it with styles, it's going to look different. That part of the text is going to look different. Now you can see it looks the same, but when we provide it with these styles, it's going to look different. So let's go to responsive view and let's bring this down. So I'm going to go to 1500. There we go. Now this is the thread. So the logo part is done. Feel free to change this with any kind of PNG or JPEG or SVG file of your choice, your desire. I'm just going to keep it simple when it comes to actual providing with a lot of resources and a lot of SVGs and like over complicating a website. My goal is to first just show you how you can come up with a responsive website. And then the design part, that is actually something that is going to come later. Now first, I want to teach you how you can make any website responsive. The design is irrelevant. For the most part, you're going to get your designs from someone else. Unless you're freelancing. When you're freelancing, you have to come up with the designs on your own as well. But that doesn't matter. What matters is that no matter what design you're going to get, you have to be able to convert it into code and to make a responsive website out of that. That is the most important part. Now, within the navigation, we talked about how there are two different things. The first one is going to be nav links. And the second one is going to be the registration. I didn't know what to call it, so I'm just going to call it registration. Now, within the nav links, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a UL because there are links. I'm going to provide them a list. Now, this UL is going to have a class of main-header __ nav, but because we have used underscores just recently, we're going to use double hyphens, and then I'm going to call it links. So this is how I actually name my websites, and I think it's really effective. You do end up with bigger class names, but they're more intuitive, so you don't have to really use a lot of comments in your code. So this is our UL, and then the registration is going to be a div. So I'm going to say div main -header __ registration. Nav registration. Yeah, nav and then double hyphens registration. There we go. So this is the UL, and that was the this is the div, and this is the UL. So within the UL, because we have three links, I'm just going to create three LIs. So I'm going to say I want to have three LIs, LIs times 3, and they're going to have this class. I'm not going to write this. I'm just going to paste it there. Now, because we've used double hyphens, next we are going to use double underscores. And these are going to be each individual links. And within each of them, this greater bracket angle or angle bracket, it signifies that you want to create a direct child. And within each of them, I'm going to create an anchor element. There we go. So I'm just going to save that. So these are not going to be redirected to anywhere, so I'm going to use a number sign here. And within the anchor element, keep in mind that you're writing within the anchor element. I'm going to write community, and then the next one is going to be pricing, and then the final one is going to be features. There we go. So we have community, pricing, and then we have features. Let's just provide that here as well, just to keep everything consistent. So that's the first LI, this is the second LI, and then we have the third LI. Now we are done with the links. let's move on and let's talk about the registration part. So within the registration, we know that we have two simple buttons or anchor elements or links. The first one is going to be sign in. So let's jump in and let's write sign. I always say singing. Sign in. And the second one is going to be sign up. Let's save that. Let's take a look at our changes. There we go. So this is what we have done so far. There is no styling for these elements except the general ones that we have applied. And we're going to fix that. Don't worry. Now, we are practically done with the header section of our website. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to create the hamburger lines as well. Now, keep in mind, they're hamburger lines. They don't have any content like 1, 2, 3 or like line 1, line 2. No content. We're just going to grab the HTML elements, which are considered boxes in CSS, and we're going to style those boxes irrelevant of their content. So I'm going to say I want to have 3 divs times 3, and each of them, it has to have a class of hamburger because their styles is for the most part the same. I'm going to give them similar class names. There we go. Let's save that. So you can't see these hamburger lines because they don't have any content. So I guess we're done in the header part. Now, the way that I go by creating websites is that, and I think this is a good way, not because I do it, but because I think this is a good way to actually design your websites, develop your websites, is that I go section by section. So it's not like I go ahead and I create the entire code for the HTML for that website and then I jump into CSS. No, because what happens oftentimes is that when I get a design from my designer and I start working on it, there are a lot of times that when I code the HTML part of that design, and when I take a look at the web page, and when I dive into CSS, this happens like all the time, a lot of times. I come back to HTML and I rearrange that code. For example, I change where they are, I change their containers. For example, this part, especially this one, this registration, I'm going to be honest with you. What I did was I actually coded this outside this nav. And then when I went to HTML, when I went to CSS and I started making this responsive, okay, I thought, okay, this makes things complicated. So all the styles that I'm going to apply for nav, I have to apply them for this main header nav registration as well. So why not move it inside the nav and just treat it as a different container? And that's when I came up with this UL for the nav links, and then for this one as the registration links. So this is what happens if you go ahead and code the entire website in your HTML and then go to CSS. What happens is you're going to end up with a lot of HTML that are not foolproof, that are not like 100% sure. So when you're writing HTML, just make sure you understand this idea that HTML, it is bound to be changed. It is bound to be modified. It's not like something concrete. It's not like words written on a stone or engraved in a stone, something like that, if I'm not mistaken. So oftentimes what happens is you come back, you change HTML code, and if you have all these sections, there are going to be hundreds of lines possibly, and then it is going to be very difficult to maintain that and to understand, okay, what changes it is that I want to apply there. Now, what I'm going to do is, the way that I'm going to teach you how to create websites is that we are going to go ahead and we are going to code all the HTML for the header. Then we are going to jump into CSS, code all the CSS for that header in the desktop version. And then we are going to keep making the windows smaller. And then we are going to make it responsive to the smallest point, which is, in my idea, 300 pixels is okay. I don't think you should go below 300. There's going to be a lot of issues below 300 pixels of width. So you could do that. I mean, if you're really like obsessed with making responsive, but it's not my suggestion because nowadays devices, they don't really go below 300. Like iPhone 12, 13, they're like, let's just go ahead and take a look at that. So this is iPhone 12, 13, which the latest devices that this Firefox version supports. you can see it's 428. So you don't really have to worry about any kind of device if you're going like below 350, below 300 pixels. So what was I saying? I was saying that we are going to code the HTML, and then we are going to jump into CSS. We are going to finish that section along with its responsiveness in CSS. Then we are going to jump back into HTML. We are going to wrap this section up by collapsing it like this. And then we are going to dive into the next section. And then in that manner, we're going to end up with a responsive website. And the previous sections are no more a headache, are no longer a headache, because we know that we have made them responsive. So we don't really have to do anything else. We just have to make sure that the upcoming sections, they abide by those responsive rules. That's basically it. So with this, our lecture comes to an end. In the next lecture, we're going to jump into CSS.